Tonight, as many as 12 Rochester police officers facing scrutiny over their response to a traffic stop by federal immigration agents.
I was made aware of an incident that occurred on Monday night when our officers were urgently called to assist Border Patrol.
Good evening, I'm Matt Malloy. The actions of multiple RPD officers under review tonight. The mayor says when Border Patrol officers called for backup on Monday evening, several city officers responded, and in the course of helping with the traffic stop, they violated the terms of Rochester's sanctuary city status. 13 Wham's Daniel Finkelstein joins us now with a breakdown of what the mayor says happened, how the police union is responding, and what happens next.
Once again, we have to talk about liberal cities and Democrat politicians in charge. This time, it's Rochester, New York. The mayor of Rochester and the police chief want to discipline at least 12 police officers for assisting another law enforcement agency. The Border Patrol and Homeland Security were conducting surveillance in an area, and they were doing a traffic stop. So they called the local police for assistance, and now the officers that showed up could be facing discipline just for doing their jobs.
Good evening, Matt. While helping on that traffic stop, Mayor Evans says RPD officers verbally directed the occupants to exit the vehicle and then helped handcuff him. That's where he says city police went too far. It happened early Monday evening near here, Whitney Street off Lyle Avenue on the city's west side.
The Rochester Police Department received an emergency request for backup at the scene of a traffic stop.
A request from Border Patrol officers who had stopped a van. Chief David Smith says when a police supervisor arrived, he canceled the emergency response based on what he saw.
From watching the body-worn camera footage, what is concerning to me is, despite the fact that we were called, we went lights and siren, I see in the video a total lack of urgency on the part of multiple Border Patrol officers at the scene.
Smith says Border Patrol should have initiated contact with those in the car, but instead it was RPD. The mayor says city officers acted outside their scope.
The officers on the scene were verbally directed the occupants to get out of the vehicle. And this is against our policy.
Rochester's sanctuary city resolution was passed in 1986 and was later reaffirmed in 2017. That and RPD's General Order 502 prohibits RPD from enforcing federal immigration law, but allows for certain levels of assistance, only to ensure the safety of those involved.
We are not to be handcuffing subjects. We are not to be doing pat frisks on subjects, and we are absolutely not going to be detaining them or putting them into our cars.
So Mayor Malik Evans, a Democrat, of course, is concerned because the officers his city employs were assisting another law enforcement agency. And the chief is concerned because body camera footage showed the Rochester officers near the van talking to the subjects, and that goes against the scope of their job. This is another example of this sanctuary city nonsense where illegal immigrant criminals can roam the streets freely. They can commit crimes if they want, and the local police will not do anything about it. All that mayor and that police chief are doing is making it unsafe for the residents who live there. And you heard the police chief. Rochester officers are not supposed to handcuff, are not supposed to pat search, or put illegal alien criminals in their police cars. How can people keep entrusting the safety of themselves to politicians like Malik Evans? And you heard the reporter. The sanctuary city policy took effect in 1986 and was reaffirmed in 2017. Well, back in 1986, up until probably Joe Biden became president, we didn't have flurries of illegals coming over our borders. They weren't in every city and town and state in the United States like they are today. And that's all because of the open border policy of the Biden-Harris administration. But these politicians just don't care. They don't care about the safety of their residents, and they certainly don't care about the safety of their officers.
Good evening, Matt. The terms of Rochester's Sanctuary City Resolution, as well as RPD's General Order 502, prohibit the enforcement of federal immigration law by city police officers. The Locust Club says its members did nothing wrong. Chief David Smith says Monday evening, Border Patrol contacted the Monroe County 911 Center and requested an emergency response. 13 WHAM News obtained surveillance footage of the traffic stop involving Rochester police and Border Patrol officers.
Available Lake Cargo 77 Kalila Avenue and Whitney Street for Border Patrol, requesting RPD for backup.
When the first RPD officer arrived, Chief Smith said the emergency response was canceled. City leaders say RPD officers who were dispatched to the scene overstepped and violated the terms of the city's sanctuary status and general orders.
When in reality, they should be initiating contact. We should be there ensuring their safety. The body-worn camera does depict the RPD supervisor on scene giving specific directions to RPD officers and ensuring that the Border Patrol officers on scene are actually engaging the occupants of the van.
The officers on the scene were verbally directed the occupants to get out of the vehicle. And this is against our policy.
The RPD Locust Club calling the mayor and police chief's comments an overreaction.
We did nothing wrong. We continue to do nothing wrong. And that, you know, for them to be out in the public eye like that and basically telling everybody that we violated a policy. We didn't initiate any traffic stop. We didn't inquire on any immigration status. We were assisting another agency, and that is it.
In the video, you see a woman on the scene trying to approach the van multiple times. Officers appear to push her and tell her to back up.
I see in the video a total lack of urgency on the part of multiple Border Patrol officers at the scene.
The Locust Club standing by the actions of its members.
We would be having a completely different story if one of those officers were shot and killed, God forbid, in the line of duty, and we didn't respond. We are certainly going to defend our membership all the way to the very end if there was any discipline that comes forward from this.
So you saw a video of the traffic stop, you saw the Border Patrol agents, and you saw the RPD cruiser pull up. Yes, you saw an RPD officer near the van, and you saw one of them telling some woman who was right up on the scene trying to videotape it. The officer was telling her to get away from them, get away from the scene. So she was basically obstructing a police investigation. Now, we don't know who was in the van. We don't know why the Border Patrol was trying to pull it over. But it seems that lately, as we see immigration agents going around taking people off the street, they know who they're looking for. They know these people are in the country illegally, and they know they have criminal histories. But people like Malik Evans, the mayor of Rochester, does not care if illegal aliens with known criminal histories are roaming the streets of his city. These officers are out there to protect and serve, to keep the residents of Rochester safe. And they are not allowed under this ridiculous sanctuary city policy to do their jobs effectively. And like the union representative said, God forbid there was an officer involved shooting and an officer was shot and killed. You would be seeing a whole different news story. You would be seeing them praise the officers involved for engaging a suspect and saving lives. But because that didn't happen, now they're wrong and they went against policy for doing the job they took an oath to do. This is a problem. It's a problem in big cities like Boston, like New York, and like big states, New York, California, cities like Boston. Illegal alien criminals are free to roam as they please because they know if they get encountered by the police, they're going to be let go. And even if they are arrested, some liberal Democrat judge will let them go with zero bail. These people know this. They're being told this by politicians like AOC from New York. We all know she held a special meeting to instruct illegal aliens on how to avoid contact with the authorities, specifically Homeland Security and ICE agents. She, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, should be held accountable for trying to protect known criminals. But they won't do anything about it because, God forbid, you touch a congresswoman who's so wonderful, especially from New York, with Kathy Hochul as the governor and Eric Adams as the mayor. This problem is getting worse and worse, and the Trump administration is trying to make our streets safer. When is it going to end? What has to be done to show these politicians that Homeland Security and immigration agents are going after known criminals? They're not going after little Maria who works in the store down the street or works in the restaurant down the street. No, they know who they're looking for. Let them do their job. They're trying to make our streets safe. They're trying to make our residents safe. And most of all, they're trying to remove the thousands of known criminals who came into this country illegally under Joe Biden's watch. He welcomed them with open arms. Now we have a president who has balls, if you will, and he's going to get them removed because he wants Americans to come first, unlike Joe Biden. So enough's enough with these politicians. How can people feel safe knowing that their own police officers can't protect them because of a sanctuary city policy where you can't handcuff them, you can't pat them down for weapons, and you can't even transport them in your police car? All these politicians need to lose in the next election because they're doing nothing but making the problem worse.